I understand what this looks like. I understand what you guys are upset. I understand that I didn't show up and advise to every court ruling because I've had bad experience with the judicial system. Go to a 1% of motorcycle club.
All right, thank you. We're all set. All right, this is the People versus Christopher Moore. I have misdemeanor files 241722, 241589, 241136, and then we have a felony file. This is 241796 FY appearances.
Morning, Your Honor. Jeffrey Fanto on behalf of Mr. Moore. As to the state cases, we've waived formal reading, asked for warrants to be recalled. As to the city case, that's set for pre-trial 5th, and request would waive formal reading and stand mute.
Okay, so as to 241796 FY, the felony case, this is a charge of home invasion, third, and domestic violence. Mr. Moore, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say orally or in writing can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney, and you have a right to have that attorney present during any future questioning and any future court hearings. In the event you can't afford an attorney, one will be appointed to represent you. You have 2 court dates within the next 21 days. Your first court date is your probable cause conference, which you can appear at via Zoom, and that is set for August 26th of 2024. Following that, on September 9th of 2024, you will have your preliminary examination. At that examination, the prosecutor will have to show that a crime was committed and probable cause exists to charge you with that crime. With respect to the remaining 3 cases, we have a State of Michigan versus Christopher Moore on 1136. State of Michigan versus Christopher Moore on 241589, and then we have a City of Taylor case 241722, and that's the B&E. As to all of those, the warrants have been set aside. They'll be set for pre-trials.
Judge, I would note that Moynihan is on. I would just ask that the 2 misdemeanor state cases be set for the 26th as well.
The misdemeanor state case be set for is the 26th, so that's a Monday?
That's the same day you set for the PCC.
Oh, okay, so we'll just have them all?
Same parties.
All right.
Then the state, or the city case, I think is September 5th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's a date of September 5th on that one. And then Ms. Moynihan, all 3 of the felony matters, then when we come in for the arraignment, or I'm sorry, the probable cause conference on August 26th, we'll just have those 2 misdemeanor files follow the felony. Now, as to bond. Ms. Moynihan, is there anything you have to say as to bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Tina Moynihan on behalf of the people, P84-692. Judge, we were in court on Monday. I was there as the prosecutor covering the docket for Ms. Sob and Ms. Davidova, and Mr. Moore was supposed to appear for an arraignment. He did appear by Zoom momentarily and then disappeared. He would not speak with Mr. Gizicki. With my understanding, Mr. Gizicki attempted to have conversations to proceed with the arraignment, and then Mr. Moore decided to log off before the case was ever called. My understanding, he then contacted the courthouse and spoke to a clerk downstairs and made threats to the court that if he came up to the courthouse that something was going to happen to people in the courthouse. And then it was also my understanding of speaking with the complainant who appeared by Zoom that there was an incident from the night prior, which would have been Sunday night. In that incident, Judge, there has been a warrant requested. I am in the process of reviewing that this morning. The allegations there are that the defendant broke into the complainant's home again overnight, forced his way into the home. He then adjusted cameras throughout the home that the complainant had so that he could not be observed. He's seen wearing all black, a hoodie, as well as a mask covering the portion of his face. He then enters the complainant's bedroom. He pulls a gun from his pocket and then shows that to the complainant, claiming that her fingerprints were on that gun. and putting her in fear of an altercation ensuing. Further from that, he's then seen leaving the location by the complainant and heading out in an unknown direction. My understanding is that he's been staying across the street at the home across the street from her residence, and I believe that that is also going to be considered a violation of his bond that's been issued, that he's had no contact with the complainant, that he's not returned to that residence, and then there's allegations of new criminal activity. In addition, Judge, to his failure to stay in court until the case was called on Monday, I do believe that Mr. Moore is a danger to the complainant as well as to the public as a whole. He shows a wholesome inability to comply with the court's orders. I would be asking for a $250,000 cash surety bond, no 10%, with a GPS tether and house arrest if he were to be released. And I would ask that there be a 2-mile radius from the complainant's residence so that he's not to return to that area.
Anything, Mr. Fanto?
Well, I guess we have allegations that I don't know that the court should take into consideration relative bond as these cases stand. However, I would note that Mr. Moore does have some serious medical issues. At least if we could mark the files medical so that Wayne County with those. He is on SSI.
Okay. I don't think there's, the things I'm to take into consideration is whether or not he's a danger to the community. He's a lengthy criminal history. His behavior in this court has been absolutely egregious. Since these cases have started, he has assaultive criminal convictions. He clearly does not have any issue ignoring court orders. He is certainly a danger to Miss Butcher as well as the community at large. He's certainly a flight risk. He was already in immediate warrant status on one of the domestic violence charges on August 5th when he failed to appear for court. We've had a separate case where he had an immediate bench warrant on 2 different dates, both June 13 and August 5th, for failing to appear at court. He's now got pending against 1 complaining witness, 2 domestic violence cases, 3 domestic violence cases, a B&E and a home invasion. There's an allegation that a firearm was used in one of those instances. There was a police report filed. Detectives had to come over to the court Monday after there were allegations that Mr. Moore called the court, was extremely volatile with court staff. And Ms. Moynihan, the language was that he was going to come up to the court and commit a massacre. That's the allegation of what he was screaming at court staff. So I have to agree with you entirely. Mr. Moore is a danger to the community. Mr. Moore is a flight risk. Mr. Moore has shown absolutely zero respect for the criminal justice system, the legal system, or the safety of his own child that resides with Ms. Butcher. He will have a $250,000 cash or surety bond with a GPS tether with a 2-mile radius of complaining witnesses home. The file will be marked medical. Mr. Moore, you're to appear in court as directed. You're not to leave the state without permission of the court. You're not to commit any new crimes while released. You're to immediately notify the court of change of address or phone number. You're to have no contact with Miss Butcher. And a matter of fact, you can't not only go to her home, you can't go on her street. These are on the felony case. These are the bond conditions set for 1796 FY. You are not to possess or have access to firearms. You cannot purchase or access or consume alcohol or illegal drugs. On misdemeanor, I've also signed the request for a court-appointed attorney to ensure that Mr. Moore has counsel at all future proceedings, and that's in the file. As to the 3 misdemeanor files, each of these files will have a $10,000 cash surety bond with a GPS.
Top of 250,000.
No, that's plus, so it's 280,000 altogether.
Hey, ma'am. If I can say something when you are done, please just let me know.
Mr. Moore.
Mr. Moore, you have a-
prefer you not.
Yeah, Mr. Moore, you have a constitutional right to remain silent. Given the amount of hot water you're in right now, I would strongly encourage you to follow the advice of your counsel.
We've got pretrial services relative to the felony.
I will request a DSU report at counsel's request on the felony. Is there anything else?
Yes, can I say one thing, please?
Mr. Moore, your attorney is advising you not to say a thing.
I understand that. I'm asking, please. Would that be okay?
I would prefer you not, Mr. Moore.
I understand, I respect that, but this is my life in the balance and me ever seeing my kid. So I would like to say something. I understand what this looks like. I understand that you guys are upset. I understand that I didn't show up and advise to every court ruling because I've had bad experience with the judicial system. That's not an excuse, but at the same time, it is the truth of what I'm saying. I have documentation showing, and I've called the courts. I called the detective. I called the domestic violence. I recorded them. And,
Mr. Moore, listen. Mr. Moore, I
understand.
appreciate all of that. I want to be clear, given your history at this court and what's happened recently, there is absolutely nothing that you can say that will change my bond on this case. Nothing.
How about her conspiring to commit murder on me?
So
and I haven't
what will
documented it?
happen is your attorney has requested a DSU, and I've granted that DSU request. So the Michigan Department of Corrections will meet with you, and if they find a bond modification is appropriate, they will issue a recommendation to this court. I'm not so inclined, or I don't know that I would even necessarily follow their recommendation, but I will certainly look at it and take it into consideration.
Ask her
And I
what-
mark the file medical.
Thank you,
She
Mr.
don't have
All right.
but she's to a 1% of motorcycle club.
All right, thank you. We're all set. Thank you over at the jail.
Thank you.
Thank you,